Welcome back to Insider's Tips. This is Angela with Main Street Productions. Today I have a tip for you that is so important, especially here in the South. You know, years ago when our parents were getting married, it was really common to get married in the church and have your reception just down there in the church fellowship hall. And yes, those weddings were much easier, but you didn't really have to worry so much about the temperature of the day. And these days, with the explosion of barn weddings, outdoor venues, everything like that, you have more and more outdoor weddings that are happening. And here in the South and lots of parts of the country, it gets really, really hot outside. And all too often, there is not some sort of beverage available to your wedding guest before the ceremony starts. Okay, so let me explain. Let's say you are getting married at a new venue and it's kind of outskirts of town because it is a barn, and that tends to happen. You don't really have a lot of barns right in the middle of the city. So you're kind of maybe an hour outside. You have elderly guests that might be coming or regular guests, and they might allow a little extra time to get to the venue because they're not really sure where they're going, all right? So they get there and they might be 30 minutes early. So let's say your ceremony starts at 5 o'clock. They're gonna get there at 4:30. Well, that's when seating begins anyway, so that's fine, so they get seated. Well, if you have a large bridal party, it might not be until 5:15 before you walk down the aisle. And then if you're, depending on how the length of your ceremony, you might not walk back down the aisle as husband and wife until 5:30, 5:40. So therefore, that person is sitting out in the hot sun for probably about an hour. Most healthy people, not gonna make a difference really. But if it's 100 degrees outside and they're sitting there in the hot sun, and maybe they're elderly, or your grandparents, or maybe they just get really, really hot. Well, that can cause some issues and kind of interrupt the day and kind of interrupts their life a little bit too. But the easy solution is just to provide some sort of beverage that people can enjoy when they walk into the ceremony. Now, if it is outside, which is really the only time this really comes up, people getting too hot, unless your AC doesn't work in your reception, and that's something probably you can't really control if it happens. But a cute little station with lemonade or with water, little water bottles, or maybe a little fan. You can do your program as a fan. That kind of stuff will all help combat this heat that we feel. And just something to think about that you might not really have thought about yet, because you're not really visualizing that you're going to be sitting as a guest, because you're going to be up front and you're doing things, and really you're the last one in and the first one out, so you're least affected by it, although you do have like on 20 pounds of wedding dress sometimes, so that might be an issue too. But take that into consideration, and I hope you enjoyed the tip today.